This is a 1958 BMW 503, one of 413 ever made. This particular Cabriolet is one of slightly over 100 ever produced, and no one really knows how many are left in existence today. My name is Mike Marijanovic, and I'm president of the workshop in Libertyville, Illinois. Alright, so we find this 503 and 327 at this barn in Ohio. We call up Germany, check out the VINs, and sure enough, they're the real deal. So Don and I talk it over, and it was a really interesting situation because it was a gentleman, I believe he was an immigrant from Europe. I think he was Hungarian, and his son. And the son was okay to deal with. He really wanted to clear out these cars. They had like they ran like a local service shop, and they wanted to clear out these barns to, I don't know, store cars or something. So the son really wanted to get rid of it. The father, he was the one that stored these and brought these over, and he knew what they were worth, so he wanted a significant amount of money. So it was interesting to strike up a deal with them. I remember at one point, Don was talking with the father, I was talking with the son, and then we kind of flip-flopped. And after 3 weeks, we were able to negotiate a deal. We purchased them, and then we made them available for sale along with the Concours restoration. I think they must have been for sale for about 6 months. And at that point, we got a call from a gal in California, a huge BMW enthusiast, who was interested in potentially starting a collection. And she always had the 503 on her bucket list, but the situation was never right. She never came across something that was correct. So pretty much told her the same story how we came across these, and she came to our shop to see what we do, came to take a look at the cars, and she was sold. She didn't just purchase one of them, we had them for sale individually. She purchased both of them and wanted a Concours Pebble Beach type restoration done to them. We've just recently completed the restoration for her on her 503, and that's scheduled to go to Pebble Beach this year. The 503 will run a 1,500-mile rally from Seattle all the way down to California, in Monterey. And after that point, she's scheduled to enter it into the open division of Pebble Beach. Next year, it will go into its scheduled class at Pebble. The specifics on the restoration of the 503, the rear bumper specifically had to be completely redone and refabricated. Once we had a good mold in place, and that had to be chromed. A lot of the side trim was missing, so it had to be molded, then recreated in brass, and then chromed as well. Interesting process on a lot of the interior. We had some molds, but we didn't have anything for the top. So our upholsterer had to take painstaking measures to recreate this top. A lot of the structure, wooden structure of the top had to be remade because a lot of the wood had warped. After it was remade, believe it or not, it had to be reshaped after we got to the upholstery stage because it was lopsided, something you couldn't see up until you got to this point. So we had recreated the structure of the top based on what we thought the warped piece would have looked like. And we got within a pretty good measure, but we're starting to build the top and we're test fitting it, and just something looks lopsided. So as we're going through, we literally had to shave and break part of the structure and frame of it to make sure the sides of the top ended up being even. So that was just one of many things just in the top creation when you're not dealing with a pattern. Every portion of the engine had to be rebuilt. There were significant issues with this V8. The design of it just even at the time when they came new from the factory, they would overheat. So there were a whole slew of issues that we had to deal with, not only rebuilding this engine, but design flaws with this particular motor. So that required quite a bit of vetting. When we found out she was going to do a 1,500-mile journey, we're like, well, this has to be quite a solid car. So we wanted to put many hundreds of miles on the motor, and we've done that at this point, thankfully remedying the overheating issues. Wheels were another issue. The original set of wheels that she wanted to do, we could not recreate, or we could not find any of the trim rings. So we're starting to go down the process of recreating these trim rings and having them fabricated. When we stumbled along this gentleman that made Rudge knockoffs. When we compared and showed her what the other wheels would have looked at with these Rudge knockoffs, she decided to go with the Rudge knockoffs, and they just look spectacular. We thought it was a wonderful choice, and it really makes the car. A lot of these little details are what's going to help her place well at pedal. The tires were another interesting selection. I mean, the customer, she had a vision in her mind of what she wanted this 503 to look like. And along with little bits and suggestions from us, I think we've achieved that. But one of the issues with the tires was she wanted white walls, and she knew that based on the color of the car she wanted, that she thought these white walls would be perfect. Now, we had done a 503 not that long ago, and we put the standard tires on there without the white wall, and we thought it came out well, and we were concerned that the white from these walls would kind of conflict with this cream color. When you take a look at images from the past of the 503s, not a lot of them had this particular style. You'd see them with the black walled tires. And you know, we were, oddly enough, about a week ago, we had a poster of one with the black walls with this cream colored finish. And the white wall tires really helped make this car. I mean, it's just all this white and cream and light color helped to make this car so elegant. It's truly something special.